Well, the Winter Fuel Allowance is back, somehow, in some form, paid for by somebody and given to someone. There's still so much that we don't know about the return of this policy following its scrapping in the autumn budget last year. Now, earlier today on GB News Breakfast, I spoke to Ben and Ellie about what it means, how the government got themselves into this mess, and what's to come. Take a look.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves is set to give millions more pensioners access to winter fuel payments, but at what cost?
Well, as questions over the threshold loom, millions of wealthier pensioners could face higher tax bills to fund the expansion.
Well, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, challenged Sir Keir Starmer at PMQs yesterday.
Can the Prime Minister be clear with us here and now? How many of the 10 million people who lost their winter fuel payments will get it back?
Mr. Speaker, at the budget, we took the right decision to stabilise the economy because of the £22 billion black hole that lay left. And the signs, we took the right decisions. The growth figures are up, the interest rates have been cut, and we got 3 trade deals. So we will look again, as I said 2 weeks ago, at the eligibility for winter fuel.
The fact is, he hasn't answered the question I asked him.
OK, let's cross to Westminster, where our political correspondent Adam Cherry is on standby. Adam, good morning to you. Do we know where Labour are going to get the money from for this? And I guess most importantly, what the threshold or the details are going to be?
Morning, guys. I'm afraid not. We don't have much more than what you've just said there, really. It's completely in the dark. I was in a briefing with the government spokesman and a party spokesman yesterday after that PMQs clash, and all these questions were put to them as well. And all they really said was stand by. We'll be announcing details soon. When is soon? Is it next week at the spending review? Is it even sooner than that? Is it at the budget? We got no answers. Now, there is another press briefing. As usual, it's behind closed doors, but I'll be there, and then as soon as it's over, I'll be out on Downing Street telling viewers and listeners what they said. But at the moment, as I say, we're kind of in the dark. Now, if you remember, this was initially justified, this change at the autumn budget last year, as necessary to cover that £22 billion black hole. We heard that over and over. We still hear it, even in PMQs yesterday. But changing or rather reversing, scrapping the winter fuel allowance saved less than £2 billion, roughly, which to you and I sounds like a lot of money, but in the context of government spending really isn't a lot. It is a lot in terms of political capital. It is a lot in terms of political capital, and they've certainly lost a lot of that, and even if they reverse it, it's unlikely they'll get much of it back, particularly because we don't know what the threshold is. They are saying millionaires shouldn't get it, which, as I said earlier, is maybe justifiable, I suppose. You don't want a millionaire having cash to heat their swimming pool. That is the justification. But like I said, £22 billion, have they closed that? Is that their position now? We don't know. There's been 4 interest rate cuts, and that's what they say has stabilised the economy. But that clearly isn't enough to cover what they said was the justification for doing this in the first place.
OK, Adam Cherry there for us in Westminster. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adam.
So as you can see, there's still so much that we don't know about the return of this policy. We don't even know when it's going to be announced. But when it is, will the government actually reap any political capital from this? I doubt it. But as always, you can follow every twist and turn of this story by subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Now, winter fuel is continuing to cause huge controversy. The Chancellor says she will give millions more access to winter fuel payments, but at what cost we don't know, and how many we don't know. We're going to have to wait till the budget.
Well, as the questions over the threshold loom, millions of wealthier pensioners could face higher tax bills to fund the expansion. Tory leader Kemi Badenoch challenged Starmer at this at Prime Minister's questions yesterday.
Can the Prime Minister be clear with us here and now? How many of the 10 million people who lost their winter fuel payments will get it back?
Mr. Speaker, at the budget, we took the right decision to stabilise the economy because of the £22 billion black hole that lay left. And the signs, we took the right decisions. The growth figures are up, the interest rates have been cut, and we got 3 trade deals. So we will look again, as I said 2 weeks ago, at the eligibility for winter fuel.
The fact is, he hasn't answered the question I asked him.
Let's cross to Westminster now, where our political correspondent Catherine Forster is there. Catherine, what was the reaction to yesterday?
Yes, well, good morning. It's the world's slowest U-turn, isn't it? Because the Prime Minister announced this a couple of weeks ago, and then Rachel Reeves up in Rochdale yesterday for that Northern Transport announcement, I was there, suddenly said pensioners would be getting it from this winter. Now, we'd previously been told that it was too complicated, that the computer systems wouldn't be able to cope with it, and so on and so forth. So we know that some pensioners will be getting it this winter. We don't know what the cut-off will be, but it sounds like what's going to happen, the easiest way for the government is to give it back to everybody. So there are originally 12 million people got this payment of up to £300 a week. Last year, they took it from 10 million of those. That was absolutely toxic. And it's likely that they're going to, first of all, give it back to everybody, but then they will claw the money back from the wealthier pensioners, probably from about half of them. So it's likely that an additional 5 million pensioners will get that money this winter, and the other 5 million will then have to fill this out on their tax return, much in the same way as they do with child benefit, where that is withdrawn if you're on a higher income. The problem of that, of course, is it's messy, it's cumbersome, and also, given that the age of these people, some of the pensioners in receipt of this benefit will no doubt pass away during the time between them getting it and then filing the tax return. There will be a delay. Then we're going to have the difficult scenario of grieving relatives being potentially chased by HMRC to get pretty small, in the grand scheme of things, bit of money back. So look, this is difficult. The government reckons this partial U-turn, of course they don't want to paint it as any sort of U-turn, but it really is, isn't it, will cost them about 700 million. That's about half of the 1.5 billion they initially thought they would save. But my goodness, they burnt through so much political capital with this. Will they be able to undo the damage? I suspect many people will have very long memories.
And just briefly, Catherine, it's extraordinary that it's going to take till November to sort it out. We've got the big spending review next week. People are going to be bobbing up and down talking about winter fuel. They're going to be bobbing up and down on the feet talking about winter fuel all the way up until November. So this will not be a vote winner. It's going to be a millstone around Labour's neck, I suspect, for the rest of this Parliament.
It's been hugely damaging. It was one of the first announcements that Labour made, and it was certainly a factor in that by-election where they lost a reform up in where was it? Runcorn. Yeah. I was there, my goodness. It was certainly a factor there. I talked to lots of voters, and it came up again and again that they were taking money from pensioners, they were taking money from people with disabilities. It has been hugely toxic. Now they're trying to undo some of that damage, but at what cost?
All right, Catherine, that's Catherine Forster in Parliament for us. You noticed the Chancellor, of course, wasn't in the chamber when he talked about it again 2 weeks ago. She wasn't there because it is a personal humiliation for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, because it's her policy.